Hey, today on our Chuck 101 podcast, we have a special guest with today, and we're going to talk to Landon about his archery journey, how he got started, and what's going on in his world. So let's get the show started. My name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on our Chuck 101. And Landon, how about if you introduce yourself and tell us a little something about yourself?
Yeah, I am Landyn Cox, and I shoot a lot of archery. I got into it at I think I was like 10 or 11 when I got into it, and it's been nonstop since then.
What got you started in archery?
I shot NASP archery through the school, and then the coach there, his son shot compound archery, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." And then I talked Dad into getting me a bow, and then started shooting from there.
Yeah, that's a good program. I've had Tommy Floyd from NAPS on and talked to him, and that's a real good program to get kids started in something besides video games. You can exercise those thumbs, but you got to exercise more than that, and that's a really good program. So after you um, was in the NAS program, you started compounds. What did you do then?
I shot through S3DA once I got into compound, and then shot in S3DA for a couple of years, and I still do. But from there, it kind of led to shooting like the ASA circuit and the USA archery circuit, everything.
So you shoot all the different circuits. So you're pretty busy at going to tournaments, aren't you?
Yeah, it's always something. It's one state to another, it seems.
Yeah. What divisions do you shoot?
In the ASAs, I shoot a known pro, and then USA archery, the under 21 compound or junior compound men, and then S3A is just young adult.
Each one has their own little division to get into,
Yeah,
don't they?
everything's different.
Yeah, rules probably a little different, targets a little different,
Yeah,
how you shoot
every
is a little different.
yeah, you got to change something for all of them. It seems.
So how do you practice for all those different types of shoots?
Like once there's like one weekend every year in like May, and once that weekend hits, there's a tournament until pretty much the end of summer. Like it's a different tournament every week. So most of the time, like this time of year, I try to get my bows like set up to what they're for, and then whatever week it is, I shoot that bow pretty much. Like if I'm shooting an ASA this week, I'm going to shoot the ASA bow all week, and then we get home on Sunday or Monday, throw the other bow back together and shoot it.
So you have multiple bows depending on which division you're shooting in.
Yeah, because like in the ASAs, like right now I'm shooting like a 65-pound bow, and then like USA archery, it has to be under 60 pounds. So there's like different rules that kind of makes it really hard. You can run the same bow, but you would have to run the smaller set of rules for whichever tournament you're shooting for at all of them. So
Yeah,
that makes
and that mean you'd have to, if you have multiple bows, you can set one up. But if you take a bow at 65 win tournament, change it down to 60, now you're changing all your pins,
yeah. Then
or
every
changing the sight. And so how many different bows do you shoot?
well, last season I shot two mainly. I had two main bows, and right now I have one, but I'm gonna get another one soon. And then I had two earlier in the year, and then I just switched to a different company, so only one so far.
So which bow are you shooting now?
Right now, I just set up the Elite Verdict.
Okay.
I really like it so far. It seems to be a really good bow. I'd been shooting with Darton, and I really did like their bows, but it was just time for something different, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a lot of them are starting to, switch into elite. I've never had a chance to shoot an elite bow. And well, what we was talking about earlier, I won't be able to shoot one for a little while yet, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah. For those we were talking about, I just had a triple bypass less than a week ago, so I can't even lift my bow for probably 12 weeks, let alone trying to draw one.
Yeah.
That might be even longer. So, um, yeah, I'm on about I think 10-pound weight limit for next 6 weeks.
Oh,
So yeah, I can't hardly pick up a gallon of milk. So, and I don't even try to pick up that much in weight right now. Just out of it, you have no problems. But yeah, that when I get back, I'm gonna have to try some of those other bows because I have a 2001 PSE, a 2003 PSE, and then I think a 2015 Bear. Hadn't
yeah.
even shot that one. I got it set up. This is when I was working at Cabela's. They had their returns, and it was defect. The strings would have problem. The string stop was messed up, and so I got this $900 bow in the snow camo. I forget which version it was. In snow camo for like 150 bucks, 200 bucks, and made
Huh.
a new string and had to repair the stuff. But hey, when you can get one that needs work on it and you know how to work on bows,
You might as well get
that's
it.
yeah, might as well. That's the way to do it, and learn how to work on them. Do you do a lot of work on your own bows yourself, or do you have a tech that does it for you?
No, not really. Eric Griggs does most of my stuff. He owns gas bowstrings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he normally helps me on all that stuff.
Well, if you got somebody like that around, why worry about doing it yourself?
Yeah,
I've
he's
talked Yeah, I've talked to several archers that, they only let like one person touch their bow because they know they do it right. And that way,
yeah.
if there's a problem, no, it's them, not the bow.
Hmm. That's one of the most important things to me is knowing that your bow is like it has to be set up good, or then you don't know any. Like if it's not set up right, you don't know if it's you. You don't know if it's bow.
Yeah,
When it's no, hey, everything feels good on my end. Something's not right over here.
yeah, and if you're doing it yourself, then you're thinking, okay, did I remember to do this? Did I remember to do that? And then you're thinking about, okay, did I do everything right? And not thinking about, okay, what am I doing on my form?
Yeah,
So, about how many arrows are you using throughout the week to practice for your tournament?
like daily.
Yeah.
It really just depends. Like right now, I'm really not shooting a ton because it's 3D, still 3D, and I normally I don't shoot as much in 3D season. But then after next weekend, it'll be 50-meter season or outdoor target, and that's when my arrow count really bumps up. Like last summer before Youth Worlds, I was shooting on average like 150 a day, sometimes more.
That's a lot of arrows in one day.
Yeah, it's not. I know I try to stretch it out where it's not like all at once, and I'm just not killing myself over it. But I normally like then in the summers I like to shoot like a 72 arrow game in the morning and then one in the evening at least.
Yeah, and that kind of spreads it out then too. It keeps you out of the hot part of the day too.
Yeah, yeah. Shooting in the middle of the day in the summer is not fun.
No, no, that's not going to be fun at all. So, what's the next tournament you have coming up then that you're going to go to?
It'll be not this weekend, but next weekend in Camp Minden, Louisiana. It's one of the ASAs,
Okay,
so that'll be the next one.
and you'll start setting your bow up to get ready for that
Yeah,
real soon then.
I was out shooting before I came in for this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. So do you just do target then, or do you hunt or anything else, or is it just target?
no, I hunt.
Oh yeah, you hunt. Yeah, those are some nice trophies.
I got
So so tell us about probably what would be your most challenging hunt that you were on?
probably antelope. I would say. I'm trying to think. Probably the last one I killed.
Yeah, tell us
It
about
was
that one.
so we got out there like 2 days before season, and we did scouting, and we knew what farm we were going to. We knew the landowner, so like we got up with him, and we had hunted there the year before, and we got there, and like the 2 days we were scouting, there was just antelope were everywhere, and there we seen some big bucks, and we're like, yeah, this we're gonna kill opening day, like they're everywhere. We show up opening day, and there's not an antelope on the farm, like they just poof, like seriously. I don't know where they went or why, but they disappeared. And so it's it's beginning of August in Wyoming, so like it's hot. It's up to 90 in the day. We're hunting water holes, so you're baking in a blind all day. So we sat like 2 full days in blinds, and really it was slow. Like you'd see them through binoculars and stuff far off, but then like we couldn't get anything to come in. And I kept watching this other water hole that was probably 600 or 700 yards from me, and I seen like a group of bucks go into it in the evening, and it got dark, and I was like, the guys I was with, I was like, all right, let's drive the truck down there. I'm gonna put out another blind there, and I'm gonna sit there in the morning and just see, like, it can't get no worse than it is right now.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and these does come out, and then I see the buck, and I'm like, yeah, that's a shooter. Like, if I get a shot at it, I'm gonna shoot it. And the does come in, and then they don't stay for long, and they go right back out to where the buck was. Well, they're walking like this way, and they're at like 95 yards, and the buck will not stop walking. And so, I range find it at 95, move my sight, and I go like, meh, meh, like trying to get it to stop, and it stops for just like a second, and I shoot it, and I knew I hit it pretty good, and it ran off. So we gave it, I didn't see it go down. So like I wasn't sure, was it dead or not, or, where's it at? So like where I was hunting, it was right on the property line, pretty close to the property line of the next farm. And of course, the way it ran was right onto their property.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is just going to be amazing, if these people won't let us on their land, to, just to go get it, or, whatever. So we called the landowner and tell him what, like, the story of, hey, we shot an antelope. It went on the neighbor's farm, and he knew him pretty good. And he was like, no, you're fine. Like, I'll come out there. We'll go over there and find it. So we drive over this whole patch of land over there, and we don't see it anywhere. We lost blood, couldn't find anything. And we gave up looking for it. And we were on a little 3-person side by side, and the landowner was in the driver's seat. Nick was in the passenger, and I was in the passenger, and Nick was standing on the bed, like, looking over the front, trying to watch.
Right.
And, we're literally driving back to the truck. We gave up, and Nick's like, stop, like it's right there. And so we stop, I get out, and it's bedded down, but its head's up. So, it's still alive. And I can literally only see its head. And it's at like, I think it was 87 yards. And because there was brush in between me and it, but it cleared off on both sides,
Yeah.
But like it's clear to the animal with, with how the arrow drops, but it's not like a dead line, And so I'm like, okay, I can shoot it from here. And so it's at 87 yards, and I draw back, and I go to its head, and I go over and down like to where the shoulders are, and I shoot, and the arrow just goes over and drills it in the shoulders, and it jumps up and do what they do, and it went like
Yeah.
40 yards wide. And that was pretty cool, just because it went from that sucks, like I shot an antelope and we're not going to find it, to end up getting it.
So that second arrow took care of it, huh?
Yeah, it's after the second arrow. It wasn't a minute, you know.
That would be a challenging hunt to do that and look and look and look and then not find them, and then next thing you know you come across it. And
Yeah,
there's been times we've looked for animals and looked and looked and looked, and then it's like, well, I don't know where they're at, no blood trail, and then come back next week and it's like, okay, I can smell where it finally ended up. You smell
yeah,
it going in. And, 30 yards from where you stopped looking is where it was at.
yeah,
That's what happens when you look at it at night.
yeah. Like the buck I have the whitetail I have on the wall right here, it was the same way. We looked for it forever, and it would just be like a couple like little drops of blood that you'd have to look around for 10 minutes to see the next one, and then it'd be a pile, like that where it had bedded down. And we tracked it forever and finally found it, but it was the hardest tracking job I've done by far or seen done.
Yeah, that's tough when you have a blood trail and it goes away, ends up in a pool where they bedded down and they got up and something spooked them and making them run. Yeah, that's not a fun one.
Not at all.
But we've all done that though. Had
Yeah, I
those
think
types of hunts and
if you hunt long enough, you're going to run into one of those hunts.
yeah.
Sorry,
So
trying to get my phone
that's
plugged in.
those are both kind of challenging ones. What's the most memorable hunt you had?
Um, Probably my first antelope. It was pretty pretty cool to just go out there and actually get one without being guided or anything. It was, being with my dad there. It was pretty memorable to shoot it.
That's kind of nice when you go out and hunt with your dad and get an
Yeah,
antelope.
yeah. We went out there that year and literally knew like really didn't know nothing about hunting because we're not. It's 24 hours away in a car, and you go out there just hoping you can figure it out one way or another.
Yeah. I know my first antelope hunt didn't turn out too good. Um, I parked the car on the side of the hill and then walked over to it, got the water hole, and there's just nothing there. On the way back, it's like, I don't remember this tree. Well, because I was walking on the other side of the hill and I didn't walk far enough. So we couldn't find the truck for a long time. We only find it, and it's like, oh, there it is, clear over there on that hill over there. We'd end up way on a different hill and then got back to it. But man, I don't know what was going to do. We was just trying to find the truck, and I had a GPS with me and I forgot to mark the spot and take it with me. Yeah, I could have marked the spot, well, walked right back to it, but no, I forgot to do it and take it with me.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was interesting, the first time I had my one son out with me and doing some stuff and had my bow and we got tired. I just left my bow at the one watering hole and I was like, I'm gonna get carried around. I'm gonna find the truck, go back and get my bow. Because at that point, we're not worried about finding an antelope. We're worried about finding the truck.
yeah. You
We
got to
don't want
get
to
home.
spend the night out there. Yeah, that would not be fun to spend a night out there with nothing except what's on your backs. Because I'd just park on this side of the hill and walk over and come up and see them and no, they didn't turn out too well. But that was interesting. But hey, it was fun. Had fun with my son when it was out there doing stuff. So
Where was you at hunting those?
that was in Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're a little bit different to hunt here. A lot of open space.
Yeah.
Of course, Wyoming's gonna be a lot of open space too.
Yeah. You can correct me on this. I think there's a lot more in Wyoming, ain't there?
Yes, a lot more antelope. Now, if you
Yeah.
get out by the Wyoming border, then they kind of increase. But in the middle of Nebraska, uh, there's not that big of a herd.
Yeah.
You might see half a dozen or so at one time would be the most you'd see. And
You go to Wyoming, you'll see over 100 together.
yeah, I know I've driven through that area and it's like, man, whole herds of them in the fields.
Yeah. Like once, whatever that road is, I can't think of it, but like where you go through Rapid City,
Oh yeah, I don't remember right now what that one is.
might be 90. I feel like that's what it's called, maybe. But when you like once you cross Rapid City, like it's crazy how many you see. And when you get into Gillette right there, it's just like you'll drive through downtown Gillette and you'll see them in the dollar store parking lot. Like
Oh yeah.
like the first year we was out there, we was in the hotel room and it was like there was a Sportsman warehouse right beside us, and like you could see the parking lot out of the window, and there was three antelope in that parking lot.
Yeah, just shoot them out your motel room window, right?
Yeah, like it's every year we stay in the same hotel, and we'll always set up a spot and scope in the room and see if there's any big bucks in the fields near.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, different areas, how many there are there. And I know there's a lot of it's a place that there's a lot of deer around here. And even in the cities, you'll see the deer run around in the cities. There's one spot I was going by and right off the interstate and one of the major roads, I'd see deer there every once in a while. Haven't in a while, but I don't go by there too often anymore. But right there, it's like it's right there in the city. And now where I'm at, I'm out in the country, so it's not quite as unusual now.
Yeah, yeah. Like I live like in our town. It's really small, and like it's nothing to see. Like not this November, but the past one, I was sitting in science class, and like in that classroom, it's on the second story, and the whole like back wall is glass, like to see outside. Like it's just a big
Yeah.
glass wall. Pretty neat. And there's a field back there, and we were sitting there in class, and I was bored or whatever. I was just looking out the window. There's like a big 8-pointer pushing does around in the field at school, and we were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I was like, "My bow's in the car. I need to leave."
Yeah. Hey, I need a break. Hey,
Yeah,
give me. I'll be back later.
yeah. It's all the time. We'll see them there. We'll see them, seeing deer and turkeys on the football field.
Yeah, it's amazing how they adapt to being around humans, some of these animals.
Yeah, like have you ever seen the guys that hunt down there in Atlanta?
Actually, in the city.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to any of them that do that.
you have to look it up. It's Seek One is what it's called. They're like pretty famous, but yeah, they hunt like the suburbs in Atlanta, and they've killed like multiple 200-inch whitetails.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy. I'm like,
there's no hunting pressure for them.
yeah, no, not before them. They were the first ones to like really do it. And like, there's videos of them. Like, they'll literally be in somebody's backyard and they'll shoot a 200-inch deer. It's like
Yeah.
that's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, there are places around here down in Bellevue, down by um, the forest down there, Fontenelle Forest, and there's a lot of people around the forest there that feed the deer, and
Yeah,
that's the worst thing you can do anyway. They feed the deer, and you can't grow any flowers or anything because the deer just eat it all up,
yeah,
and they're malnutrition, and they showed some pictures where they wanted to start hunting at the forest because the population is getting so big. And they showed pictures, in the past where you couldn't see 50 feet in the forest, that it was just completely covered. And then after the deer pops got so big, anything a deer could reach was already gone. So you could see, 100 yards easily through the forest because there was no cover down low because they ate everything. And then the antis were saying, well, it'd be just like you just go out and shoot them. Day one, possibly. Day two, no. That
yeah.
they learned within a day they were being hunted, and you had to hunt them like any other deer. You couldn't just go out and pick one you wanted to shoot.
No, it'd be after the first one gets shot, they're all gonna know something ain't right.
Right. So they learned real quick that they're being hunted, and they changed their behavior accordingly. And so it's not, that that easy of a hunt.
Yeah,
And they are used to humans. So you don't have to worry quite as much about the scent control and wind that you would other places because there's constantly people walking through there, all the time. So
yeah,
they're used to human scent. Um, there's other places that I've hunted, um, public places that there's a lot of human traffic because it's a campsite, and then they close part of it off for hunting, your hunting season, and they're used to people in there, so they're not so uh, annoyed by human scent. I still go out with as much scent control as I can because if they don't smell me at all, they don't know I'm there.
yeah. You're better off to just be safe.
So, what's the next hunt you have planned?
I think I'm gonna go turkey hunting in the morning. Actually,
Oh yeah.
I think me and one of my buddies are gonna try to hit up some public land and see if we can get on a bird in the morning. Is
Now,
it up
now where do you live?
Kentucky?
Oh, Kentucky. Okay.
Yeah, I live in Jackson County, which is like southeast Kentucky.
That'd be good. Get out in the morning, do a little turkey hunting.
Yeah, see if we can get on one.
Yeah.
I live right near like a ton of public land, so like I hunt a lot of public, so I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna try and get out and do some with turkey this year, but I'm not gonna I can't shoot my bow probably at all this season.
Yeah,
But we've got a flock of about 3 dozen that's not even a mile from my house. And we have private property across the highway where they roost quite a bit. So there's good place for them. I just haven't done too much turkey hunting, and so I really got onto them. So I'm gonna have to make that a priority when I can get back and shoot my bow.
yeah,
Try be next year. Get ready for next spring and maybe see if I can set up some turkeys over there. I don't know where they go. I see them in a field every once in a while. There's like 3 dozen, like I said. They show in this one field. Just before I get to the highway,
yeah,
and and um, that's a pretty good sized flock.
yeah.
But
I mean,
I don't see them every day, so I don't know where they go for sure because I haven't tried to track them down. I should, maybe when I get where I can't really, where I can get up and do walking, maybe I'll do that. Try and find them. Walk to a place because they want me walking every day, and so maybe I'll walk down there and see if I can see where they're hiding.
yeah,
No, that's gonna be fun. You have to let me know how you do tomorrow on your turkey hunting.
yeah. Hopefully we can get on one. My buddy that I'm going with, he shot one yesterday, I think.
Now, the other in Kentucky, how many turkeys can you shoot?
Two in the spring, two in the
2 in the
fall.
spring? Okay, two
Yeah,
and two. Now they limited to the spring ones, toms only then?
yeah. It's only toms.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
you
it
can.
is here.
I think you can shoot a hen in the fall with a bow. But
Yeah, I
I'm
know
gonna.
sometimes in the fall they'll let you do hens, but yeah, here in Nebraska, the spring is toms only because you got your hens sitting on nests of eggs. If you
Yeah,
shoot
yeah,
them, then the eggs don't hatch, and then that kills the whole nest.
yeah. There's no reason to shoot a hen this time of year.
No.
There was this is neat on a hen. There was probably like 6 years ago. Probably like 6 years ago. There was at my buddy's house. There's always turkeys in this field across from his house. Like I've seen over 100 turkeys in that field at one time before. So like they're infested over there. And this one spring and like winter to spring, the whole time you would see an albino hen out in this field. You see it every day, and then like we always take pictures of it and look at it, and then of course turkey season opens and you don't see it no more, and you're like, yeah, somebody shot a hen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just because it's an albino doesn't mean you can shoot it if it's a hen.
Yeah, might tape a beard on there or something.
Well, wait in the fall. Shoot it in the fall, then you have a albino turkey.
Yeah,
Or that's basically what your domestic ones are.
yeah. Last year we were driving through a town and there was like half albino, half brown turkey with like a 10-inch beard walking on the road, and we were like, oh my gosh, like no way this is
That,
like a wild gobbler. And then we like started looking at it, and we was like, no, that's somebody's pet.
yeah, kind of bred them to be like that.
Yeah, to be those colors.
Yeah, it's kind of be interesting to have them like that. And we were walking on the street last time. So you don't know if it's somebody's bad or not. Because if they're just walking on the street, they're not afraid of you. So you'd think, oh, that's probably somebody that's raising them.
Yeah.
I know my brother's raised turkeys before and ducks and chickens, and my son has chickens and ducks, but nothing else other than that because they can be kind of messy.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, he'll have a duck fly off. Now, even if they clip their wings, sometimes they can still fly off. And they'll just all of a sudden this duck will just fly off the rest of the ducks, and others stay around because they know they got food and water all year round.
Yeah. It's easy life for them.
Yeah, yeah, because they've got a place to stay. It's pretty safe. They have to worry about the predator birds once in a while, but he's got dogs, so really nothing going on in the um, in the yard, so they're really safe there. But man, those things they just sit there and he's on an Easter egg hunt every day, trying to find eggs because they just lay them wherever.
Really?
Yeah, they just lay them wherever.
The ducks?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, the ducks just lay them wherever they want to lay them, and the chickens, some of them will lay them in the roost, but he probably needs a few more pins for them. But we went out there one time. There's like about 10 eggs, all different colors. One hen sitting on all the different eggs. They just go in there and sit on the eggs. Good thing the eggs are so good.
Yeah.
A lot of fun eating the natural foods, the wild turkeys and the deer and the antelope and all that tastes so much better than regular beef.
Yes.
I think so anyway.
I love antelope. It's one of my favorite things to eat.
Have you ever tried moose?
I have not.
Oh, if you get a chance, get some moose.
Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's best meat I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. It's in the
Hmm.
deer family, but it's a way bigger.
Yeah.
You get a lot
That's
more
it.
meat with your moose.
Yeah, you shoot a
Yeah,
moose, you're gonna have enough meat for a while.
yeah, it took a while to eat all that moose, and it was about 500 pounds of meat. We got
Yeah.
out of it.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah. Well, the head and hide weighed 131, I think it was.
wow.
That was just the head and hide. That had nothing to do with the bones and the meat.
Yeah, and that's your man. That's the heaviest part right there is the
Yeah. And it wasn't even a bull, it was a cow.
and the bulls are bigger, ain't they?
Yeah, bigger. And then of course they have the rack, and however you
Yeah,
can't eat the rack, so um
heavy. I mean,
the does taste better, I think, anyway. So,
yeah, I can see that. I've heard that before.
well, same thing in the deer during the rut. They're not really eating. They got all the testosterone going and everything else, and they're not eating right, and so they're not going to be quite as full of nutrients as the doe would be, and they don't have to fight to see who gets to do the breeding rights. And
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a lot better meat off the doe that's actually eating right. And
yeah, it's all about having good food
oh yeah,
and knowing how to fix it.
yes, that's one of the most important things for like any type of wild game to me is like if you don't know how to fix it, it's not gonna be very good. Like on a lot of things to me.
Yeah, it's when I first, started getting venison, I didn't know how to cook the deer meat very well, and one deer would last us a whole year because we
Yeah,
didn't really know how to fix it. Then once we figured out how to fix it, and there was one time we got a deer and freezer was full, so I'm basically making jerky out of everything we can, and I think that deer is gone in 2 weeks. I'm cutting it up and making jerky, and the kids are waiting to say, is it ready? Is it ready yet? As soon as we're ready, pull it off the dehydrator, and they'd be eating it away, and I get the next batch going, and
that's hard to beat right there. Making your own deer jerky. That's
oh yeah,
one of my favorite things to do because you can make it how you want it.
we used a marinade, a beef brisket marinade that we get from I got from Texas. It was Claude's sauce.
Yeah.
First time I tried that, my cousin had made a brisket with that, and it's like, oh man, that's really good. So we'd marinated that in there, and we had a little container vacuum sealer. So I put the meat in there with the marinade. I'd vacuum seal it and release it 2 or 3 times, and it'd soak all the juices inside. Throw it on the dehydrator, and we had one that had the fan in it, so it dries it quicker. And
Yeah.
we stick it on and let it go, and peeling it off and doing the next batch, and it was pretty good. I do a lot of I used to do all my own processing. You know, it's the only way you guarantee you get your meat back.
Yeah.
You do it yourself. And now you can fix, you cut the steaks how you want them cut. You put as many in a package as you know your family's going to eat. So you don't have, okay, I got to open up 4 packages, but I only need 3 packages and one more. So you
Yeah.
package them how you want them. And I've made pepperoni sticks. I've made, you know, breakfast sausage, uh, a whole bunch of other stuff I've made, and it just makes it a lot nicer and a whole lot cheaper to make those sausages and stuff yourself.
Yeah. You take them to a processor, it gets pricey quick.
Well, and then you're not even getting your own meat back because they mix yours in with their bales to make a big batch.
Yeah.
They might be making a 50-pound batch, and you got 20 pounds on it, and so you're going to get that percentage of it back, and this way you do it yourself. And we have a butcher supply house here, not too far, so we go get the same spices that the butchers use and the
Yeah.
same casings and everything. So we can make the same recipes that they do. We just make them in smaller batches, all.
Yeah.
And in the uh, dehydrator, it works pretty good. Or if you had a smoker would be another way you could do it, and that give you some good food, and you know what it's cared for, you know what it's like, and you know how it's treated after you killed it. And
Yeah. You know, it's good stuff and you did it, like nobody else did it and there's nothing in it, you know.
yeah, I was at a butcher one time, and it's during the rifle season, so they had deer hanging on every hook, deer hanging on the floor and everything. And I'm looking at some of this deer, and okay, this meat is brown, this meat is green. Uh, how long it had been sitting before they brought it in. So now they're mixing all this in, and of course they're going to cut off the bad stuff, but who knows if how much they get off. Um, and then I had a couple buddies with them took in 2 deer. One guy's deer was easily 50 to 60 pounds heavier deer when he
Hmm.
took it in, and they both got the same amount of meat back.
Oh wow.
So he complained about it, so went back and got some more and brought it back out. I thought you kept my meat with my order, but no, they just do it up and say, okay, you brought in this much deer, here's your standard package. And I always wondered how they was able to donate hundreds of pounds of meat every year.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're shorting you.
Oh yeah, you always get, I feel like you
Yeah,
always ordered like
they're always shorting you what you're supposed to get. And how do you know whether or not they shortage or not? You don't know. But when you
no,
and another guy takes one, there's significant amount of difference in weight of the deer brought in, then you know they're shorting you.
yeah.
And that way, yeah, that's why I started doing it all myself. The first time I cut up a deer, my brother and I, our cousin had shot a deer, and he asked us, hey, if you want to cut it up for us, you can have half a deer if you just want to cut it up. We'd never cut one up before, but we said, sure, we'll do it. So we're figuring out how to cut it up. So we cut it up, package it all up, and give him half the deer, and we split the other half of the deer, and that was well worth it. Kind of learn on his deer.
Yeah, learn how to do it and then you still get meat yourself out of the deal.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't do it because I right now I couldn't do it, but um, yeah. Now I don't want to do it, for other people now. But
Yeah,
I
I don't
know
blame
one of the things that we come across one time that hunting buddy of mine, we had drugged this deer out, and it was just, had dirt and leaves and stuff all over it. So normally we'd hang it, by the back legs and we'd start stripping it off. And we're trying to pull this off and work all off. So we took the hose, we hosed the outside down, just soaked it, just to clean it. Soaked the inside down, just completely soaked that hide, hung it up, that hide just peeled right off.
Really?
Yeah, it's something about putting the water on there, separated the hide from the meat that just kind of filled up with water in between there. And it just peeled off so nice. So after that, every time we got it, we'd hose it down. No matter what
Yeah,
torch was outside, we'd hose it down and haul it in the garage and strip the hide off, and then we start deboning it right there while it's hanging. So it's done. It's all deboned, and now we just have the carcass to get rid of.
yeah. Makes it a lot easier on you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some of you, I'll put a tie golf ball on it and you grab it on the truck and pull it. It's like, this is a whole lot easier. Just clean it. It's a little wet. It's clean. Yeah. Just put your rubber gloves on so you have a little bit better gripping power and just pull it right off. Yeah. The things you discover by accident.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like that's how a lot of things are. Hey, I didn't mean to do this, but it worked, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely the way to do it. If you find something that works, keep doing it.
Yeah,
And,
no
and
reason.
that seemed to work real good for us. So we just kind of do that more if we're gonna save it like that. And I know my brother first starting off, the hunting knife wasn't really for getting the skin open. He'd use a fillet knife, fillet it through the skin and not only open the membrane up and just get the skin back out of the way and then
Yeah,
go in and do the membrane. And I watched the guy one time. I was just cringing. He took the knife and he's plunging in, trying to cut through everything that knife's going in and out of all the gut piles and everything. It's like, ah, and like, no. Yeah. That's why I started putting those little hooks on them. You just open it up, just zip it right up, and yeah, I try to do it without making any kind of nicks in any of the bladders or the intestines or anything. Because
no, it's
last
a
thing I
smell
want is
better.
that's yeah, last thing I want any of that on the tenders. The primo cut is right there next to where all that stuff is at.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a yeah. One of the times one of the best cuts of meat I had was we got a doe. I come home, we got the grill. I fired the grill up. I stuck the two tenders on, and I'm waiting for it to cook. And the taper's always taper down. And I'm saying, okay, that looks like it's done. I put the fork in the tip, cut it off. Yep, that's cooked, done. So I was doing all four tips, and I just kind of working my way around as we're cooking from the outside in. I'm eating it as it's cooking right off the grill.
yeah, no, I'd
I
say
think cut it right off the grill and eat it right off the grill. So um what's your favorite meat? Deer, antelope, or
probably antelope. I really like it.
antelope? Now what's your favorite way to fix it?
I like the steaks. I like just cooking the steaks like you would normally cook a steak. They're really good like that because it's such a tender meat to me. Like we gave steaks to these some people we know, and they fed it to their they cooked it for dinner one night. And they didn't tell their kids what it was, and they ate it. And they was like, "Can I have some more steak?" And they was like, "That's antelope." And they was like, "Really? Like this is better than normal steak?"
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
always
no,
taught my kids, when I bring the deer home and we're having a deer, and I was like, "Where the deer's at? This is part of it's good, isn't it?" And I say, "Yep." So they all like a deer and all those other meats as well. It's all how you introduce them to it. And
yeah,
the worst one is like, "Oh man, this is really good. What is it? Oh yuck, I hate it." You just said you liked it.
yeah. Like shouldn't matter what it is. It tastes good.
Yeah, just eat it. I know some people just aren't real adventurous.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll try quite a few things. A few things I don't think I really want to try, but like eating bugs.
yeah. I'll pass on that.
Yeah. Now we all do eat some bugs in our food just because there's certain amount of bugs in them that you're not going to know is there. But to just grab one of those like little worm things and just bite on it, it's like I don't think so.
No, I can live without trying that.
Yeah. Now, if it means that it's either that or starve, yeah, that's a different story. But
Yeah, then maybe, but
yeah, that's a little
last
bit
night.
different story. Yeah. What would you say to somebody that's thinking about getting started in archery?
To really get started into it, I think the most important thing would be finding somebody that actually knows what they're doing. So like, local shops, local S3DA teams, like anything to that nature, to go to them and then just really try to spend a lot of time doing it. 'Cause that's the only way to figure it out is spending time doing it.
Yeah, find a group or someplace that'll take you under wings, and like you started in NASP, so that's always a good place too, is see if your school has an archery program, and if not, sometimes some of your summer camps will have archery.
Yeah.
That's try it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth trying. I mean, you can go to college and do it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's all levels. You got college, and then after that, you've got all kinds of things you can do after college, even.
yeah,
Like you go in, in the semi-pro and the pro circuits and Olympic circuits, and there's where do you want to take it? That's you
yeah,
just want to fling arrows in your backyard. That's fine.
yeah, but it'll go as far too. I mean,
Yeah, you can definitely go as far as you want or as little as you want, and just get with, like you said. The idea is get with somebody that knows what's going on, even if you don't fling arrows in your backyard. Get somebody that's going to help you so you have more fun flinging arrows. Because last thing you do is be hunting for your arrows.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's not the
you,
goal.
you go hunting to shoot animals. You don't go shooting archery to hunt for your arrows. So let's help you so that you don't miss the target too often. And then too, get closer to targets you can't miss.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
as you get better, move back.
exactly. Like you always need to start close and work your way back. You can't just start it, 40
Yeah.
yards and hit it.
Well, and you said you made those, a 95 and 85 yard or something like that shots.
Yeah,
You know, you didn't start off shooting those distances, did you?
no, that don't happen overnight.
And you probably do a lot of practicing at that distance just to have the skill and the knowledge of what your arrow is going to do at those kind of distances, don't you?
Yeah, like always, like in the summer times, if I know I'm going out west, it's like, yeah, I need to get outside and I'm shooting my other bows every day, but at least one day a week, I need to spend a day with my hunting bow and shoot it, check it out for, spend time behind it, know how it reacts to different things.
Because at that distance, the animal's going to take one step and you've got a good shot, good perfect shot to a bad shot.
Yeah, I mean, like I've definitely had that happen before. I mean, like you shoot one and they jump the string or whatever, and you broke your pin was on its shoulder, and you hit it closer to the rear end than you did the shoulder because
Yeah.
you know
And that's the disadvantage of shooting those long shots.
yeah,
That,
because they have so much time to react.
but you're far enough away that the noise probably doesn't spook them like it does when you're at, 40 yards or 30 yards, something like that.
Yeah, when you're like, heck, I've missed an antelope at like 20 yards from it literally jumping the string. You wouldn't think a bow shooting that fast would they'd be able to jump the string at 20 yards, but they can, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. At 20 yards, you miss, but at 95 yards, you hit them.
Yeah,
Yeah, go figure.
I mean it's all luck and whatever the animal decides to do.
Yeah, that's you got to practice those different distances, and up close too.
Yeah, I
Those
mean,
5 yard shots, that shoots completely different.
yeah, like I shot a hog at I think it was like 4 yards in Florida. And it's you got to kind of guess in the moment, that's like 4 yards, maybe 5 yards, go with it.
Yeah, and there you're gonna have to use like your 70 or 80-yard pin at that distance.
Yeah, like that one, it was so close that I knew my sight was on like 20, and I just knew it would hit. So I just aimed. I knew it would hit high, so I just aimed low. But I mean, I drilled it. It went like 15 yards and crashed.
Like I said, that's why you learn your equipment, so you know
Yeah,
what it does at those
yeah,
distances. That's one thing I don't think a lot of archers will practice at those 4-yard shots, 5-yard shots.
yeah.
Um,
Like last year on the ASA circuit, it's 50-yard max, and everybody shows up to the first one, and there's a 4-yard target, and everybody's looking around like, what do I put my sight on? Like, what do I do here?
yeah, and that's why they do it
Oh yeah, because
because
they
nobody
knew
practice them.
nobody's expecting it either,
Yeah,
and it's so
I,
close. You're like, oh, I should never miss this. Never miss a 12 on this.
yeah. And I was at a 3D tour one time, and they had a gator like 5 feet from the platform. So you're up on a platform. So you're up, I don't know what, probably 5, 6 feet up,
Yeah,
and you're shooting about a 45-degree angle at this gator. And I knew it was like 5 feet. And I knew on my bow at 5 feet, I need to shoot my 70-yard pin. So I'm up, I'm full draw, and I'm bending down, bending down, bending down, and I can't do it right now, but I bent down far enough. I'm leaning over. I'm depending on the rail to hold me up, and that 70-yard pin hit that target, and that's when I fired, and I hit it right where I was supposed to. And then, of course, I almost need somebody to help me stand back up because I was leaning over so far. But I knew the bow at that range. That's what I shoot it for.
yeah,
Because you figure that out, and at that time had a program that would figure out my sight tape, and it had
yeah.
on there, how to shoot it at 5 feet. And a lot of them don't understand, why I got to shoot that higher pin. Well, when you think about it, the arrow is at the corner of your mouth normally.
Hmm.
Where's your sights? Up by your eyes. How much distance between your corner of your mouth and your eyes? That's, you know, 4 inches, five
Yeah,
inches, something like that. Well, your pins are 5 inches above your arrow. So when it leaves the bow, your arrow is way lower than your pins. At some point, that arrow is going to catch up to your bottom pin. What distance is that? And then it's
yeah,
going to go up the top pin. It's going to drop them back down. Um, you do the same thing, sighting in rifles. You can sight in a rifle at like 26 yards, and there is going to be a point where it's dead on. I did that with my rifle. I sighted it in for 26 yards, and at 200 yards with that caliber and that bullet and everything else and that speed, it was dead on at 200 yards.
yeah,
So that's kind of weird. At 26 yards, I'm dead on. At 200 yards, I'm dead on. At 100 yards, I'm about an inch and a half high, and 300, I'm about 3.5 inches low. So I'm sighted in for 300 yards, just put crosshairs where I want it to go.
yeah,
And that's something you need to figure out on your bow if you're going to be having any of these, unmarked yardages or even marked yardage. Even if they said it was 5 feet, do you know how to shoot 5 feet?
yeah, exactly.
So that's something that we all need to practice on, is those short range shots. Um, or yeah, that by my son is in his blind, and the deer sticking its nose in the blind. It's that close. It's like it's got its nose right there at the window. How do you shoot that one? And you talk to those that stuck their arrow through the blind, not the window you're supposed to shoot through, because they didn't realize the arrow was so much lower. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's where the pin's at. No, that's not where the arrow's at. kind of kind of interesting how all the trajectory works on your bows and everything. Oh, any projectile.
Oh
Whether
yeah.
you're
Interesting.
throwing
Like
a baseball or a football or anything else or a basketball, you always have an arc on it.
yeah, and most people don't. Like it's just a weird like you really have to know it to understand it.
Hmm.
Like just looking at it, you wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, that's how that works. It's no, you're gonna have to think about it and then go somewhere from there.
Yeah, it's like compensating for angles. And that's another whole game. Um, I've had a video, podcast I talk just about, how to judge those angles and what to do, um, when you're the rangefinder with the angle compensation in it, you don't have a mechanical device that tells you. I have one now, but the only time I use it is when I went out for rifle because I wanted to make sure I was, wasn't more over my 300-yard range because I wanted to set it far enough away that the headshots come out. But uh, normally with a bow, I'm that 20-yard range, so I don't really need a rangefinder. Kind
Yeah,
of
there's
nice
no
when you're in a tree stand and you get up there. It's okay. That's a 30-yard shot. That's a 20-yard shot, and once now get in your tree stand and you know where it's at. And because if they come in, you don't have time to use a rangefinder anyway.
no 95% of the time if you're by yourself, you do not have time.
And even if you have somebody with you, they got to, range it and tell you, and then all that extra talking is like, maybe the deer hears you.
Yeah, it's gonna catch on at some point.
Yeah. So, well, I'm I'm going to let you go for now. It's been great talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for
Um,
having me. Really enjoyed this.
yeah. Any parting thoughts or ideas you'd like to let the audience know, and anything you want to promote or anything, just go right ahead.
Um, I really think like if you're getting into archery to, really try to find a good program, a good something to shoot, and then if you get a bow, shoot gas bowstrings. And
Well,
that's probably
they seem to be pretty good ones. So
oh, they're great. And they're great people. Like, I've had like friends and stuff like, hey, I got these strings from gas, like they were supposed to be this and somehow they came in as this, I'll like it's as easy as this, or I'll see like, those Facebook groups like archery talk or whatever on Facebook, and it'll
yeah,
be like, hey, I got these strings from gas, I'm having this issue, and 99% of the time it's something they did, they've had it in and out of the press, things like that,
yeah.
and every time, I'll see Eric Greg's commented, hey, hey, get up with me, we'll get you set up with another set of strings, and then just to me that really shows, how good of a guy he is and how if you have a problem, he's going to get it fixed.
Yeah, and that's what you look for in, somebody's going to make your strings because, it's not like bow, you can buy one bow and not have to replace it, for many years.
Yeah,
The strings, you're going to replace those if you shoot much. You probably replace yours at least once a year, don't you?
yeah, normally yearly.
Because that's a lot of shots, you get in there shooting all those and nice thing about the strings is, you know, once I had to stop, I went down to PSC for dealer school and I learned how to make strings. And so I've been making my own strings since, um, for about the last 20 years.
Yeah,
And so I just make my own strings and I can make whatever color combination you want, whatever pattern you want. I've done braided strings, I've done, all kinds of different, patterns and strings
yeah,
and, making 3-color braided, 2-color braided. And, the 2-color braided one's kind of neat because they form little V's in your string. And so, out in Architect 101 Facebook group, I actually have videos where I showed you how I made those strings.
yeah,
So anybody looking to make it, I was like, hey, make them yourself. It's not that difficult to
yeah,
do it. And there's multiple ways you can do it. A lot of string manufacturers, they don't tie any knots in them. They just leave them loose. Um, I've seen some like the zebras. I think they tied both ends. The problem with tying one end to the other end, now if you don't get them the exact same length, now one stretch more than the other. So actually, when I do mine, I'll take one color and then I'll tie the two colors together. So it's basically one continuous string. So then all the stretch is evenly stretched amongst all the strands. Um, it holds it together easier than trying to overlap them and hold them in place when I'm serving over them and Yeah, for me, it's just a lot easier. So my whole string is a continuous one string. I might
Yeah,
have a couple knots in it if I had multiple colors, but
it's gonna be
and then
easier that.
yeah, as I'm building, I'm stretching them out, and I can actually showed how big you make it, how much it stretches based on that length, and so then you can kind of compensate for that, and you twist it back to get them back, and um, so it's interesting how you make them. Now, guys like gas strings, they have a little bit better process probably to do it than I do.
Yeah.
I don't stretch mine after I've made them because I've stretched the crap out of them while I'm making them.
Hmm.
I put them under pretty high tension while I'm making them. Or if you're just making them without tension, now you got to stretch them. So I
Yeah.
pre-stretch. I've never had any trouble with my strings stretching after we put them together because
Hmm.
I do stretch them quite a bit because they're both inside, and once I get that pressure in there, you turn them and that string is really tight. I don't know how much pressure's on it because I don't get a way of measuring it. But I could put them under tension and hold them for a while, make a little screw clamp and put a pressure gauge on it, but it's not worth it. I've made hundreds of strings and haven't had any problems with them yet. So
Yeah.
I
No
don't, I
reason.
don't see to go, I don't see any reason to go through extra work when it's not needed. But yeah, anybody listening that's interested, having a problem with your bow, having a problem with your form, make sure you get in the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group if you're not already a member, and upload a video. Don't upload a YouTube video, just upload a raw video. Because in that group, I don't allow you to sell anything, or post links to YouTube videos because we can't control what's going on. I don't want some other, you know, thing being marketed to the group that's not archery related. If you do have um, a tournament you're hosting or sponsored, go ahead and put those links in there because that's provide invite to the group. So if you know of a tournament, go ahead and put the information in for the tournament. Let all the group know that there's tournaments at. There's members in that group from all over the world. So don't limit to just the United States because I have members in multiple different countries. In fact, um, I've interviewed archers from all over the world. So wherever the tournament is, post it because there might be somebody that lives by it. So let's
Yeah.
let's get people out to some of these tournaments and let's get them out there and get going. And like I said, if you have any questions on anything, I've been an archery instructor since '95. I've been working on bows since 2001. Professionally working on them. Kind of worked on my own, but didn't know what I was doing. But till I went down and spent a week down in Tucson, Arizona, at the PSC dealer school. There we learned how to make the steel cables and tear bows apart, put them back together, and all kinds of stuff that you don't need to know anymore because new bows don't have steel cables.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you have a steel cable bow and it breaks, yeah, you're not going to get replacements for it.
No, too old now.
Yeah, and if you found one, the only way you'd be able to do it is find one that something else broke and the steel cables are good and swap them. Last time I heard, the steel cables are $100 a piece. And you have to replace both of them. You can't replace just one because you need to get them exact same length because you can't twist them like you do the strings now.
Yeah.
And then you're going to pay somebody like me that knows how to do them. You're going to pay me more than what the cables cost you. So
Yeah.
you
To
might
do
be
it.
spending $200 now at the way inflation is. You might be spending $400 for cables and another $500 just for me to make cables for you,
Yeah.
if you can even find them. Well, you can buy a brand new bow for starter bow because it's going to be much better than what you had.
Yeah. It's got a lot newer, a lot new technology.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been great talking with you, and I hope our
Yeah. Thanks for
listeners
having.
learned a little something about a little bit more on archery, and hopefully we'll get back into making a little more regular podcasts now that I'm feeling a little bit better um, from my exciting journey.
Yeah. I hope you hope everything stays good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, let's get back to doing some more shooting and getting more time. I'm getting a little more energy now, so that's going to help and be able to do these podcasts a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Roy Canterbury. I've been a host today on Arch Talk 101 with Landyn Cox as our guest today, and we'll see you on the next one. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one.